Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Luis, and today we're diving into a study that's fun, unexpected, and super relevant to the biological approach in psychology. What if I told you that monkeys might prefer boy or girl toys too? Sounds strange, right? Well, that's exactly what Hassett et al. 2008 set out to investigate. And no, they didn't do this for fun. They were trying to answer a serious scientific question. Are sex differences in toy preferences biologically hardwired, or are they learned through culture? In humans, we often see that boys prefer trucks and balls, while girls prefer dolls and soft toys. But many psychologists have debated whether these preferences come from socialization, meaning how we're raised, or from biology. Previous research, like Alexander et al. 2009, found that male and female monkeys also seem to prefer different types of toys, so Hassett and her team wanted to replicate and improve on those findings. The researchers had two main goals. First, they wanted to see if male and female rhesus monkeys would show different preferences for masculine or feminine human toys. Second, they wanted to test whether these differences could exist without human social influence, in other words, in monkeys who had never been taught what a boy or girl toy was. The participants were male and female rhesus monkeys from a semi-natural troupe at the Yerkes National Primate Research Center in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. This group lived outdoors in a large enclosure and had a social structure similar to that of monkeys in the wild. There were 11 male monkeys and 23 female monkeys who came into contact with the toys during the study. This was a field experiment. That means the researchers did not test the animals in a lab, but instead brought the toys into the monkeys' natural environment. They used an independent measures design, meaning that male and female monkeys were compared as separate groups. Importantly, this setting reduced any pressure or stress and allowed the monkeys to interact with the toys freely. The researchers used two types of human toys: masculine stereotype toys like hard plastic wheeled vehicles like trucks and cars, and feminine stereotype toys like plush dolls and soft animals. These toys were selected based on earlier studies showing what types of toys boys and girls typically prefer. Over a period of several weeks, toys were introduced into the monkeys' enclosure one at a time. A researcher stood just outside the enclosure and placed a toy where the monkeys could see and approach it. The toy remained available until all monkeys had interacted with it, or until the toy had been out for two 30-minute sessions. Each monkey's interaction with the toy was recorded using a stopwatch. The researchers timed how long each monkey spent handling, touching, or playing with the toy. To make sure there was no bias, the researcher observing the monkeys didn't know which monkey was male or female during the recordings. The results showed a clear pattern. Male monkeys spent significantly more time playing with the masculine, wheeled toys compared to female monkeys. Female monkeys interacted more equally with both types of toys, but they still showed a preference for the feminine, soft toys over masculine ones. So overall, the male monkeys had a strong preference for stereotypically boy toys, while the female monkeys were more flexible. The researchers concluded that sex differences in toy preference may not be entirely caused by culture or socialization. In other words, the fact that monkeys, who aren't influenced by advertising or gender roles, show similar toy preferences to human children suggests that biology might play a bigger role than we thought. However, the study also noted that female monkeys didn't completely avoid masculine toys, which suggests that behavior is likely shaped by both nature and nurture. If you're wondering what some of these terms mean, here's a quick recap. Socialization means the process of learning norms and behaviors from others in society, like parents or media. A field experiment is a study carried out in a natural environment, not a lab. Gender stereotypes are general ideas about how boys or girls should behave, which can influence what toys children are given. This study was more natural and ethical than forcing animals into a lab. The monkeys lived in their own group and could choose whether or not to interact. The researchers also used blind observation, meaning the person recording behavior didn't know the monkey's sex. This helps reduce bias. and the use of objective timing gave the study reliable quantitative data. One limitation is that the monkeys were not randomly assigned to toy types. It depended on when they approached. Also, although the monkeys weren't harmed, they were exposed to human-made toys, which isn't totally natural. However, because they were not restrained or manipulated, ethical issues were minimal. Don't forget, this was a field experiment using an independent measures design. The sample included 11 male and 23 female rhesus monkeys. Male monkeys preferred wheeled toys. The findings suggest that biological factors may play a role in gendered behavior. The study connects to the nature versus nurture debate, especially in early development. So what does all this mean? Well, next time you see a child reach for a toy truck or a doll, you might ask, are they choosing it because of society or because of something deeper in their biology? Stay tuned for the final study in the biological approach, Hutzel et al., 2011, where we'll explore how mindfulness can literally reshape the brain. Until then, keep your curiosity awake and maybe your toys too. See you next time. Goodbye. See you next.